Good morning. My name is John Thompson. I'm one of the board members for Parkview School District, and I'm here today with Hannah Wellnitz. Hannah is one of our teachers here. So Hannah, I only met you for the first time last fall, so let me just ask you a question in case other people don't know you. Why did you become a teacher? Why Parkview? What is it that you teach here?
Great. Thank you. Again, my name is Hannah Wellnitz. I'm the business education teacher for the district. I became a teacher a few years ago, actually 6 years ago, to share my passion of business education with students. I actually graduated high school and my bachelor's initially was in business marketing. After doing that for a couple years, I decided that I wanted to take my passion and bring it into the classroom, specifically driven with personal finance and marketing concepps. Mm-hmm. I chose Parkview because this is the community that I live in. It's the community that many of my family members grew up in, and Parkview is the school that many of them graduated. And it is the hopes that someday my children will also attend this very district.
Okay, cool. So last week at our Board of Education meeting, we were talking about what might get cut in case the referendum doesn't pass, and you were talking about some of the things that you deal with on an everyday basis, like class sizes. And so tell us about your different class sizes, and how those might vary, because I frankly was shocked with some of the numbers that I've heard for class sizes this year in a lot of different grades.
Yeah, so some of the the class sizes really, were led to out of our control. Some of it has to do with scheduling, how student schedules, figured out with when classes were offered and when classes were not offered. But some of it also can be contributed to the fact that we are short-staffed in some areas, and we also only have a very limited number of elective offerings. Because some of us are one-people departments, such as myself, agriculture, technology, education, computer science, because we only have one person overseeing those departments, and we ourselves only have limited schedules, we may be only able to offer a class 1 or 2 times throughout the semester, throughout the year. So that a lot of times leads to very large class sizes. Myself, along with others, have seen the results of that this year. My classes range anywhere from 13 to, at the high end, it was 35 students this year. I do teach all seniors personal finance. That's a graduation requirement for our students. Because moving from last year to this year, I wasn't able to add an additional section of personal finance. Mm-hmm. I had to accommodate the entire senior class in 2 sections. One of those sections was a group of 35 students, and the other was 27. The class of 35 surpassed the capacity that my room was able to handle. Therefore, we were actually displaced to a science room this year. So in the science room, we were able to use the lab space for students to set up in. Less than ideal, moving a classroom from the business ed room down to a science room, not only for myself and my students, but also the science teacher as well. So she would have labs set up and would have to clean those or push them off to the side. Obviously, she's trusting that nothing in her room is going to be displaced or damaged. 35 students is a lot to be carting from one end of the building to the next. So that's we do see a very wide range, and there's not really much consistency in terms of class sizes. So like I said, 13 all the way up to 35.
Yeah, and as we've got some classes, I think, like our freshman, sophomore, junior classes, some of those are even bigger than this year's seniors classes, so that's going to complicate things further.
Right. So like I said, there's not, in my schedule right now, there is no place to add or remove, or there's no place to add additional classes. Yeah. So although our graduating class last year was 39 students, 2 sections was perfect, right? We could accommodate that into 2 sections, whereas this year, and we see that moving forward as well. We see just an increase in class sizes as we go, but there's no room to grow in terms of the schedule. So that just means either eliminating other course offerings or continued large class sizes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword right there.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And that's why one of the things we're asking for in the referendum is like a half-time business teacher to kind of address these issues. How would that change what the students could have, how that would benefit them?
Sure. So, adding additional staffing, even a halftime position, would help accommodate the smaller class sizes. We have a small student population, as you know, we're a smaller district. I think our high school is right around 220, 230 students. So really one of the selling points for a district of this size is having that more intimate classroom size, not the classroom sizes of, 30, 25, or 30 plus even. So adding in that additional business teacher would allow for us to expand course offerings. So adding in that additional personal finance section if needed. And if it's not needed from year to year, then we're able to offer some of the other really awesome business electives that there are. Whether or not that's a completely new course offering or it's offering an additional section of something that might be popular. So for example, Introduction to Business, right? Introduction to Business is a very entry-level business class. We see this year 26 students enrolled in that class, which is great.
Yeah.
But again, 26 students in a classroom with 27 computers, you really are limiting not only the physical space, but also just the opportunities for students to really explore, certain aspects of the program. Additionally, in addition to offering more classes, we are able to hopefully focus more on some of the areas of growth that we've seen over the last couple of years. More time spent with our school-based enterprise, which is a Parkview school store. Also, focusing more on the academic and career planning. We see a large part of that go through the business department, being our youth apprenticeship program.
Right.
So right now, this year we've got 18 students in youth apprenticeship, but we are becoming more limited on the time that's available to oversee that program. And then another thing that we've kind of hoped for, we've started planning for, is we currently don't have a business student organization such as DECA or FBLA. So again, adding that halftime business person, not only are you increasing, course offerings, potentially co-curricular activities, but then also that learning lab experience in the school store.
Yeah, because the school store or even the business apprenticeship positions, those are really valuable because that's getting kids into situations where they're actually doing work and seeing things real time. It's not just knowledge, it's practical.
It is.
So what are some of the things they're doing for apprenticeships?
Sure. So when I first came to Parkview 3 years ago, we had 5 students in the youth apprenticeship program. As I mentioned, this year we're up to 18. We see students placed in all facets of industry. So we're very heavily in the trades. This year we do actually have our first marketing and business youth apprentice. We have students, interested in exploring health sciences. We haven't tapped that market yet, but that's a goal for next year. We'd like to see this apprenticeship program continue to grow. However, without the human resources to oversee it, which is currently me, and I do oversee the 18 students that are doing it.
Yeah.
But we're starting to limit ourselves from further growth, when really the opportunities are just starting to really, really open up. Again, it's hands-on, mentored, and it's purposeful placement. Students are doing something that they want to do, something that aligns with their post-secondary career interests, and that could be aligned with, going on to a 4-year school. It could be aligned going directly into the workforce or through something like a registered apprenticeship. So we'd really like to see additional growth in that, especially since we've seen such growth over the last couple years.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's been a while since I've taken any business classes. I think I took accounting in high school and typing because we didn't have computers back then. But just tell me, what are some of the classes that we're currently offering our students, and what classes, what's possible? I took accounting. There was an accounting 2, but that's like extra time. And so things like that might be, like you said, might be limited. So what's some really things that if you had your choice, this would be really valuable that you'd want to say students, hey, this would be great for you to take, really help you out?
Sure. So we have a large number of business education classes that we offer. I think that where we see the roadblock is the inability to offer multiple sections of those classes. If a business class is put during a period at the same time as a required English class or required math class, you're really, really going to restrict the number of students that are able to explore business. And that's the same with really any of the CTE or the career and tech ed courses, being agriculture, tech ed, and then business. But right now we offer personal finance, Microsoft Office, advanced Microsoft Office, introduction to business. We offer an accounting 1 and accounting 2, entrepreneurship and marketing. Yearbook actually falls under the business umbrella at this time. And then we also have an 8th grade personal finance class that our 8th grade students go through during one quarter. Okay. So they are small sections.
Right.
And then again, the Parkview School Store and then the Youth Apprenticeship Program. I think ideally with adding a half-time business person, it's really just putting more of these already existing courses on the schedule and opening up the doors for more students to participate. Because again, we may only have 12 students in a business class, but it's not necessarily because there's not student interest. It's because our schedule might restrict students from taking it because of other required classes that align. On the flip side of that, we also see where there's a business class offered during a time where there isn't many other classes offered. And then we have students that are taking the class because it just conveniently fits in their schedule. I'm happy to have the students in the class anytime I can, give them some exposure to what I'm passionate about, and hopefully then they become passionate about as well. But that's where we see those class sizes then of the 25 to 30. Does that answer your question?
I think it does.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. So thank you for watching. Appreciate your time, and thanks, Hannah, for coming and talking to us. Sure.
Add one more thing. Yes. I just think that our career and tech ed department, I know that we're looking at, if the referendum passes, adding a half-time business teacher, but also looking at adding a half-time tech ed and agriculture.
Yeah.
Really, the CTE department is where we see a lot of our elective courses that we offer students. These are also where we see a large number of pathways that students are seeking out post-secondary. But again, due to the limited staffing, limited course offering availability, we're seeing some restrictions in terms of like student exploration. Over the last couple years, just my time being here, I think we've created such strong momentum in where these classes and programs can go. In my time here, I've introduced 3 new business classes. We built a school store. We've more than tripled the participation in youth apprenticeship, and I know that we see very similar things in our ag department and in our tech ed. I really want to see this momentum continue. Adding things like a DECA program, additional classes, more students being exposed to some of these great offerings, and I'm just hoping that we can see that happen with the referendum pass.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's a lot of things out there that kids may not necessarily go to college for, but be able to do, because like I have a son that's training to be a paramedic firefighter, so that's outside of the college realm. I had a daughter who is a lab technician over at Monroe Hospital, and so those kind of things, just like those things fit into the science area, there's other things for the business area that we can really plug kids in, really get them ready. More ready than they would by just taking another English class, or like me, I had to fill a class in high school and it was acting. That was fun to do, but that wasn't necessarily practical.
No, I definitely appreciate the practical course offerings. Ones that students want to be want to be in the class and can really help them open up the doors and solidify their career interests. I think the main goal that we all have is for students to leave school confident in what their next steps are. So
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for your
all right,
time.
thank you very much.
Appreciate you all watching. And if you got questions about the referendum, like what this position is going to do, reach out to Dr. Anderson, email, phone, however you want to do that. So have a great day.
Thank you.